Oh, no, it's already on.
Now it's recording. Now the red's on.
Oh, okay. Record. Ready?
It's already on.
I just push record there. Okay. Adrian? So, show me the ballet stretch.
Here's your stick, Ivan. So if he gets it wrong, you can... Oh, we're recording? I'm sorry.
Okay, so Adrian, that's your... What do you have to be aware of when you're teaching this to the client?
You want your hips to be square.
Yeah.
Face forward.
Yeah.
And when you lean, you want to reach up and over.
Okay, but you don't have to lean, do you? You can just be there.
Lean. You don't have to lean. If you put pressure on your calf and you press down,
Yeah.
you get the stretch on the hamstring.
Okay, where's the oppositions?
The oppositions are here to here.
You're pulling back in the hip,
And then from the hip up.
and you're reaching down in the hip and
down.
lift up from the torso.
Yes.
Very good. And are you in a neutral or in a 12 o'clock? Should you be in a neutral or should you be in a 12 o'clock?
You should be in a neutral.
Right. So are you?
No, I'm not.
No. It's very difficult to find a neutral in that position with your leg up. Okay. So what is this good for?
This is good for your hamstrings, your hips, and your lower back.
And what does it do to those things?
It stretches them.
Right. Now, when we say stretch in Pilates, we really don't mean stretch. We exchange the word stretch with the word release. So don't focus on stretching anybody or having them stretch and force muscle to elongate, but focus rather on releasing the tension in the muscle.
Okay.
Okay? So right there, you can breathe and learn to let go of the tension. Instead of trying to push down on your ankle, just let go of tension and lift your torso up. That's why your hands are there. Right, very good. Okay. Now, if you want to take it further, you could reach forward, up and over, like you said. Right? And you can put your hands in the barrel. Yeah? You feel more stretch or more release there?
A lot more release.
So can you release into this position?
Into what position?
Can you release the
Yes.
tension from your hamstring?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little more challenging.
It's deeper.
Yeah, deeper. Okay. So besides that, what condition, if someone comes in with a particular condition, what condition are you going to use this for?
This is great for anyone who has sciatic nerve problems.
Correct. Good. Good. So how do you know if the sciatic nerve issue is a bone impingement or a muscle restriction on the nerve?
If it's a bone impingement or a muscle restriction,
so if they come in and say, I have sciatic condition, well, it could be, it could be a bone impinging on a spinal impingement, or it could be a muscle contracting and squeezing that nerve. Okay. The sciatic nerve is about as big as your little finger. It's huge. Okay. So if a bone is pulling on it, and the nerve goes all the way up to your brain through your spinal cord. So if you take your hand and your head forward in flexion, and your torso forward in flexion, and it increases the pain of that sciatic nerve, then it probably is a bone, because it's pulling the nerve in an opposition to the foot. You see that? Okay, but if the pain did not increase when you did this, it's probably a muscle contracting and restricting.
It's a tight muscle.
Yes, and if it's a muscle, you as an instructor can teach them to release. We never stretch a nerve, because the further you stretch a nerve, it's like stretching a cord, it gets tighter.
Right.
Okay, so you don't stretch nerves. And that's why we don't like to stretch muscles. We release the muscle tension around the nerve, and then it will release from the nerve tension. You see?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So that's why you don't want to stretch, force stretching.
Just release the tension as much as you can.
Yeah, and the client has to learn how to do that, right? So you need to talk them through about breathing. Sometimes it's a matter of getting their mind off the issue, talk about something unrelated. Sometimes it's about breathing and releasing into the stretch.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So it's a matter of teaching them or having them learn to let go. You could do the same thing this way. Okay? It gets more into the hip joint, yeah? Less into the hamstring. So the sciatic nerve goes all the way from your lower back, then across, down through the hip, down the back of the leg, back of the calf, into the heel, okay? Sometimes it goes on the outside.
So does it start at the quadratus lumborum? Is that where the sciatic?
Yes,
nerve
it
starts?
does. It's higher. So I had an issue not too long ago that Matt helped me on, and we did all the sciatic releases. It didn't help. It didn't help. Finally, we just hit a different angle, and we found that it was the peroneal nerve, which is much lower, and starts at the tailbone, goes across and down, but almost the same pattern, but not. And so because we were working it from a different origin, it was not being effective for the sciatic release, was not effective. So once we found the peroneal nerve, right, then it became more,
Correct.
and that's how I learned to let go in that area.
Okay.
So, this is a good one too. Okay, so what else can you do while you're up here in the ballet stretches?
You can do the ballet stretch side.
Okay, show me that. Right, right. And your foot is forward because very few people have a 180-degree turnout straight out from the hip.
Mm-hmm.
You see, but now you have to turn the toe back so you get better turnout. You feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, from here you could take that into a side bend or whatever too, but really this is the major part of the stretch right there.
Right.
All right. Anything else? You know another stretch?
Another stretch.
Ballet stretch? How about the one facing back? Remember that one? Turn around. Yeah.
And this is the.
The leg comes up. No.
Behind.
We used to do this.
Oh, we did used to do this. You're right.
No. No.
Oh, straight, brother.
Okay. Now, what is the purpose of this? What are you trying to release?
The hip flexor.
Of which leg?
The hip flexor of the right leg, and your quad.
Uh-huh. Good. And where do you feel this?
I feel this also in my lower back,
Uh-huh.
my glute,
Yeah.
so
So how would you evaluate this? How would you critically evaluate this as appropriate exercise or stretch for a client?
I would say if anyone has lower back problems, not to do this.
Yes. It's because your hands are holding your torso up and forcing you into a back bend,
Right.
which is hyperextending and forcing a pinch in your lower back.
Yes.
And then your glutes are grabbing. So it's really not advisable for the standard typical client unless they're a dancer, right?
Correct.
Good. All right. What other exercise do you want to show me now? Show me an exercise that you think you really know.
Other than the ragdoll, that's just so they're relaxing to me. I like the stomach massage.
Show me that one.
Stomach massage, you wanna put your feet on the top rung, heels touching each other.
Okay, instead of over teaching and talking me through it, just do it, and then you can tell me about it, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead and just do a couple. So now tell me what you're doing. You can relax if you like, and tell me what was going on and what you're looking for. And
Well, what you want to do is you always want to make sure your head is in line with your pelvis.
So it's the same height.
Same height.
Okay.
So when I come up, I bring the pelvis up, and I'm always engaging my abs, tucking my TA in and out, and every time I come up, I'm working my glutes and my abs because I'm squeezing. I'm working from my glutes, and every time I come down, it allows me to stretch my abdominals, come back up and contract. So all of my workout is from my abs.
And so why are your knees open?
Because you don't want to work from the hips.
The hip flexors, if they're here like you're doing a regular crunch, Your hip flexors are going to help, aren't they?
Yes.
So which direction is your head moving toward?
The ceiling.
That's right, up, not forward, right?
Right.
And likewise, your pubic bone, right?
Correct.
So hopefully they're about the same height, like a taco.
Mm-hmm.
So go back down, support your head. A little lower, drop it. Now, the down is just as important. Pilates, both directions are very important, okay? It's not just the obvious exercise part. It's the releasing too. So when you go down, let your head hang more and your pelvis hang more. So you can feel like you're getting traction. The weight of your head and the weight of your pelvis is pulling your spine out in opposite directions. You feel that?
Mm-hmm.
So each time you want to let go and release, right?
Right.
All right. So now when you take your nose up and your pubic bone up and you're folding from the midsection, go ahead. Right, and then down. Very good. Now when you do that, or when you have your client doing that, let them do a couple, and then ask them to imagine, rather than focusing on lifting their head and pubic bone, do the same thing, but focus on pulling their belly button to the barrel. So they're pulling in rather than focusing on the up. So focus on the in part of the exercise, so you can really assure them that their TA is engaged and activated, yeah?
Correct. And when you're pushing down, you're kind of forced for your head and your pelvis to lift up because you're
Yes,
forced to bend.
it's levering you up, isn't it?
Right.
So if you didn't, and you didn't engage your TA, and you're just working your rectus abdominis, and you lift it up and down, it could be pushing out, you see? So if you get them to focus on their TA, the image of pulling the belly button into the barrel, rather than reaching so high, it's not about how high, it's about how deep
Right.
their belly goes. Yeah?
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, good. And now show me an exercise that you felt was the most challenging for you, or you don't quite understand.
Okay, I understand it. It's just challenging. That's the climb a tree, which I will show you.
Now who should not be doing climb a tree?
Anyone with back problems or people who just don't feel comfortable hanging upside down.
What about a sinus infection?
Sinus infection, this is not a good idea to do.
How about high blood pressure?
Actually, high blood pressure, yes, because you're not on your stomach. No, because you're hanging upside down and everything's rushing, so no.
Right. How about eye problems, cataracts, bloodshot eyes, something with an eye issue?
No.
Why is that?
Because everything, all the blood is rushing to your head, and there's just so much pressure up here. It's causing pressure just right now on my face, my nose, my eyes.
Yeah, so you don't want to do upside down, or if they freak from upside down.
Right.
So this is not really for everybody either.
The first time I did this with Matt, I freaked out because I don't like being upside down, but I kind of gradually worked my way up the tree.
What's the purpose of this exercise?
You're building, your core. You're getting a stretch on your back. You're releasing tension on your shoulders, your back, your hips. Your quads are engaged. Your abdominals, strengthening your abdominals when you're coming up, and pretty much postural integrity.
Let's see if all that happens. Go ahead and do a couple.
Okay. So, I'm going to reach back. And then when I come
So
back.
wait. Now, you used your hands to come up. So was your abs really working? You said your abs were going to be working. Did they?
Yes.
Honestly?
Right here.
You're use your arms. Your arms are helping your abs, aren't they?
They are.
So it's not as much of an ab thing as your taco was.
No, I don't know. It's.
Okay, so it's a hamstring stretch maybe, and your back stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So let's clean this exercise up a little bit. Stand up. You have to adjust the barrel. You're a tall person.
tall.
You need to pull it way back. Okay. So to do that, you have to untighten the. Some people tighten all four. I usually just tighten one or two, and they don't have to really be tight. See, then if they're tight, then it's difficult. It should just be snug. Okay?
Adrian, do you need something for the top of your foot to rest up on that top bar? Are you good?
I'm actually okay.
Okay.
So you stand back here, Adrian. You lift it up from here, and you just pull it out, and there it is. Okay. Now, because, yeah, you just snug one up. That's all you really need. Now, at this point, your legs should be straight. No, 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 no. Straighten out both legs first. Slide down further. All the way. All the way. Mas, mas, mas. Are your knees? Are your knees straight? Okay,
Yes.
that's good. Okay. Now, what do?
You bend your,
Correct. You take that up.
bring your knee to your hip.
Yeah. Wait. Let's go back down. Get your shoulders pinched back behind you.
Do you
Bring
want,
it,
do you want the scapula?
retract it.
Zipper.
Yes.
Yes.
Depress and retract it. Bring one foot up. Bring this close toward your chest. Hold on behind the hamstring, close to your crotch. Interlace your fingers. Get your shoulders to pull down and back. There. This is the whole point right here, that you're getting this opening. As you straighten that leg, it's going to pull your shoulders further. If they're down and back, it's going to pull them further down and back as you straighten this knee. You see?
Mm-hmm.
But if their shoulders are forward, it's going to pull them more forward.
Right.
So the whole point to this exercise is not stretching anything. It's about getting your shoulders to drop down and opening the chest, okay? So you don't even have to straighten your knees to really do this.
Right.
So go ahead and do that. Most important, this is back. Now straighten. No. Get this to happen first. Now, straighten the knee. You see how that increased the retraction? Then you can lift your head and let your shoulders go forward, climb up the leg. So it's really not tummy at all. It's a hamstring stretch. All right? A little higher, all the way up to your ankle. Now hold on to your left foot with your left hand on the inside. Support yourself with the right hand on the barrel. Lean over onto your right hip and take your left leg out to the side. Straighten the knee. Straighten the knee. There it is. Okay? Okay. Now bring it back in. Straighten this knee. Straighten this knee. Straighten this knee. Slide back.
Slide back.
There. So this leg was up. Go ahead. Go back up again. You were there, right? And then you can bend this over and reach forward to stretch that hip. Okay? All right, so this is extra. Taking the leg out to the side is extra.
Okay.
The main part of this whole exercise is about opening the chest and pulling the shoulders down and back.
So that's good for someone with kyphosis?
Correct, or a tight chest, right?
So lordosis here.
Yeah. Okay, so stand up for a moment. Stand here, lay back over the barrel. Put your fingertips on your shoulder blades. Get your shoulders to really drop down and back to open your chest. You feel that? It's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Take a knee up toward your chest. Hold on to it, but keep your shoulders back behind you. Keep your shoulders way back behind you. There. Now, if you straighten this knee, it's going to pull your shoulders forward, but keep them down and back. So it pulls them forward and back. Okay, that's hard, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So you see, if you let them come forward, it's going to increase your kyphosis or your hump back.
Right.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the whole idea is to stretch this out.
Back.
So tell me something, critically evaluating this exercise. If the purpose is to open up the chest, is this a good exercise?
Yes.
Okay.
That's when you're down and your scapula depressed and
Let's
retract.
talk about the negative versus the positive. You told me a lot of negatives. And then there's this positive of opening the chest and maybe stretching your hamstrings. Is there anything better to you that you could find that would work better than this and not have all those negatives associated with it?
Another exercise, you mean? To find another
Yeah.
exercise? This one is a lot, I think this modification is a lot easier,
This, yeah,
and I felt more with it, and
Yeah, yeah.
probably because I was more comfortable doing it.
yeah,
And I was more confident because I wasn't going to fall back.
yeah, you don't have to be afraid, right?
Mm.
So that whole afraid thing, if their toe slips, they're gonna break their neck.
Right.
Now, you put a client in that position, you don't know them very well, you don't know if they have good coordination, that's a very dangerous situation, right? What if they get upside down and they freak out then? They don't even know they're afraid of being upside down,
Right.
right? I've had that happen, they get upside down, then they freak out. It's like, oh my God, then what do? You know, you have to help them come back up, and you could get hurt as an instructor trying to help them up, okay? This exercise, in my opinion, critically evaluating it, has too many negatives associated with it for the little bit of positive you can get from it. You can find so many different other things you can do for a hamstring stretch. The ballet stretches are good enough. Or up on the Cadillac, the hamstring stretch. You can find anything to open up that chest and get those shoulders to drop down and back, all right? Let me just show you one. Stand here, close to the Cadillac. Hold on with your hands on the bar, shoulder height. Now, if you just lean back in a plank, your shoulders will be pulled forward, won't they? You feel it? So get your butt more forward. You see? You see that? How it's rounding your spine? Okay, so that's not it. You got to get your hands down low, like you did near your hamstrings and your crotch. Now, stand up straight and get your shoulders to drop down and back. Now, keep lifting your chest up as you go back. And you see how the weight of your body is going to pull them down and back further and open the chest. You feel it?
I do.
Isn't that just as good in terms of the purpose of the exercise?
It is.
Safer? Right. It's really about opening the chest, chest expansion. Chest expansion is in so many exercises we do. So it's really about opening this, that's it, and getting these to drop down and back, and then using gravity to help increase the stretch. You get it?
Cool.
Okay. So in terms of critically evaluating climb a tree, you could do it on the small barrel, you could do it here. It's one of those crazy exercises of Pilates. Okay, if you look at the history of this exercise, anything like wild or upside down, it probably came from Carolla. Carolla was a gymnast and a contortionist. And dancers and gymnasts can do this quite easily. But we're not dealing with gymnasts and dancers today. Our clientele are people with injuries, are elderly, and this is inappropriate for any of those. Right?
Right.
Good. All right. So what else can we do over here on the ladder barrel? Another exercise you like
I
to
like.
impress me with something.
I like. Okay, we've done the stomach massage. We've done the side bend, forward ballet stretch, forward side.
Show me horse. You know horse?
Horse. Yes.
Oh, okay, horse.
I actually didn't like this one before, but
I don't blame
I
you.
just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, there's two versions, boy version and girl version. Do you know both?
Were we doing the boy version?
Oh, let's go over them then. Show me what you know, and I'll tell you which one you're doing.
So, come up.
Ha ha! Yeah. Do you need a pole or something to hold on to?
No, I
You're
can
fine?
do it.
Very good. Excellent
So-
balance there.
What you want to do is you want to sit back, prop yourself up, and what you're using are your adductors, your glutes.
So you're stabilizing with your adductors.
Right.
They're not a primary mover. What is the primary mover here?
My hip, my pelvis.
Your pelvis. Muscles around your pelvis. Yes, your glutes and your back. You feel that? Now, what keeps you from going too far forward and falling? Stay up, stay up. It is keeping this engaged, right? All your abdominal core muscles, right? Now, let's do the girl version. Keep up there where you're totally aligned, and just let your legs slide out so you rest down, you slide down onto your crotch. Right, and now slide back up. So you're holding this position, you're sliding up and you're sliding down.
That's the girl version.
We don't have boys doing this because it's very stressful. Boys are not as strong in their legs as girls are, okay? So girls can do that. Imagine.
No.
So boy version, let's start with the boy version again. You're going to sit back toward the back of the barrel. You're going to bring your legs up, forward. There. Okay. Now, from here, you're going to squeeze that barrel with the inner thighs. In one movement, you push your hips forward and you come up. That's it. And if you come up too high, you'll fall forward. So you have to keep your ribs engaged. So it's your abdominals, your back, and your hips. These are all core muscle groups, okay? And then when you sit back, you bring your legs up. Sit back, bring your legs up. There you go. So it's like posting on a horse. You feel that? Right. So let's bring the hands down and back as you come up. There you go. Now stay up there. Hold it. Look to your left. Just look. And then look center. And look to your right. Look center. Look down. Good. Keep all of this straight, but bend over in your upper back only, your chest only. But don't let your lower back, that's right. So it's an upper back.
Stomach massage.
Correct. And then come back straight. And again, you're going to look to the ceiling this time. But again, it's really about pulling your shoulder blades down and back and looking up. So the back bend is not in your lower back or mid back, it's only in your upper back. And then come back to center. Now, what was the value of this looking to the side, up, down thing? What was that about?
Well, I think to maintain balance.
By changing your direction of your gaze and turning your head, it challenges your balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small thing, but it's pretty amazing how difficult it became.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you know the boys' version and the girls' version. You don't give the girls' version to boys. It's just too stressful. Unless they're a dancer or gymnast, they can do it. But normal, average males shouldn't be doing that. It's very stressful.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. And some girls can't do it, the girl version either. So it's always best to start with the boy version.
Now in the girl version, do the girls actually use their hands to help them up, or no? It's just
no. They just
strength?
slide down, and they're not sitting back. They're just staying right there, and they're opening wide, and then sliding back up, staying in alignment.
Wow.
Yeah. Very challenging. All right. So, anything else?
I love the ragdoll, both ragdolls.
Oh, okay. Show me one of those.
Show you this one. This one at first was uncomfortable to me as well.
Why is that?
Because it's kind of like the climb a tree where you're just going back and you don't know how far you can go before
You fall.
you fall. So you just have to be sure to hold on. So,
I see. So you're using the weight of your hips to pull your spine out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. Now you notice this particular barrel, you cannot grab up hot in the center like you could on
Right.
some others. So what you do is you come off the barrel, scoot the barrel forward, and hold on to the ladder. I think this is a peak barrel. Peak. You have to
How old
look
is
from
it?
the inside. It's pretty new.
Yeah.
Go, stand on the inside. The barrel didn't move. You slide it forward, almost all the way. Yep. There you go. There you go. Just snug up one of them. That's good.
okay.
Also, what you're going to have to be aware of when you use other people's ladder barrels is, you see this pole right here on the top pole? Sometimes some manufacturers will glue the outside handle on, and the client will pull on it, and it will disengage and they'll fall. So this should be one stick,
Right, okay.
but not all manufacturers make one stick. Secondly, you see how this space is shorter than the next space below? Well, this is appropriate, because then you can hook your ankles in there, right? In your foot. Well, if it's a big one, you'd have to have size 12, 13 feet to be able to do that. So some manufacturers make them all the same size. Some manufacturers glue the side handle on, so you have to be careful, all right?
Okay.
All right.
So since I can't grab onto the bottom, I'm going to...
Yeah, that's it. So you gotta scoot your tush back and let the weight of your hips pull your spine out. Yeah?
So this is therapeutic for my shoulders, my back, my lower back. I feel it in the lumbar area,
And your hips.
and my neck also.
And your neck. And it's a release in your hips. It's like a double sciatic release. So tell me something. In this one, who would have a problem with this one?
People with kyphosis.
Yeah, it would just increase that wouldn't it? Yeah, you don't want that. Okay, so
And back problems also.
it might be too much of a stretch or a release for them.
Right.
And then if you stretch too far, there's a thing called a stretch reflex, and then their muscles get tighter. So it's sometimes if they have a really tight back, you don't want putting them, you want to avoid putting them in a large range of motion stretch release situation.
And that's called stretch. What's that called again? I'm sorry.
What's called a stretch reflex.
Stretch reflex.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Golgi tendon reflex, yeah. So just think of the stretch reflex. It's like an automatic pullback because the muscles are afraid of ripping, so they will tighten up. So you'll find if you stretch someone too much one day, or if they release too much one day, preferably, the next day they're going to be even tighter. So you may find that, and then you'll know the next time you work with them, don't let them go that far.
Okay.
Yeah? That's how you kind of gauge yourself. Right. And that's another reason you don't want to stretch somebody, because you don't know how far to put them.
Right.
And if they're doing their own release, then it's up to them and their comfort zone, which they can do.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So this this particular stretch, show me another version of the same stretch.
And this I bring out more because of my height.
Okay.
Actually, not bringing out too much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lie over the barrel and
Right.
hold on to the bottom rung,
Right.
and I'm just going to let myself hang.
Right. So you don't pick your feet up. You just let them take
Right.
the tension off your feet. You just drop and release your back. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a back release.
This is a back release.
And maybe a shoulder release. So tell me, who should not do this? Absolutely never, ever, ever.
It's kind of the same thing. People with kyphosis, or anybody who is overweight or has high blood pressure, because you don't want them on their stomach.
Overweight, definitely. And high blood pressure, it can restrict that. But really, there's one particular special population that should never, ever, ever do this. You have a child, don't you?
Yes.
So-
anyone who's pregnant.
Oh yeah, when you were pregnant, you shouldn't do this, right?
Well, I did it anyway. That's why I maintain my flat stomach.
See, when guys are pregnant, they can do this. That's true. They can get away with it. Girls can never get. So it's really about that, right? Release, and you shouldn't do this with, obviously. Now, what else is this good for besides releasing tension in the shoulder, back, and hips?
Shoulder, back, and hips. It's good for the deltoids. I'm feeling a stretch, the opposition from my shoulders to my hands.
So the body weight's creating an opposition.
Right. I'm creating
And what's the principle that's really being focused on here?
opposition right now and
No.
articular traction.
Articular traction, really big time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the purpose, right? To open up the
The spine.
right, and then the muscles releasing is another purpose.
Right.
Good. Okay. So, if you were breathing from your belly rather than from your chest, lungs, what we call clavicular breathing. If you're doing belly breathing, let's say you are a trained singer, or you learned how to do belly breathing, lower back breathing from yoga, and you were in this position, can you see how it would knock the air out of you?
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to stay here very long, especially if I started adding leg lifts and all that sort of thing, right?
Right.
You get that?
I do.
So it's actually a good place to kind of teach chest breathing, because it's restricting breathing from the belly, and if they pull their belly in away from the barrel, then they breathe up higher into their armpits, laterally into their chest. They can feel how we would prefer to breathe in Pilates, yes?
Yes.
That's very traditional Pilates breathing. Good, okay.
Now
That's
from
good.
here you can also do the leg lift.
Oh, good idea, let's try some.
And what you want to do is you want to lift your legs up, and it's not about the height, and you want to make sure you're in a posterior tilt. Once you've
gone away from posterior tilt, you've gone up too far.
Correct.
So this is as far as I can go.
Right. So, if you cue the client into understanding that this is an abdominal exercise as well as a glute exercise,
Mm-hmm.
then they get it. If they're holding their 12 o'clock, then they're pulling their tummy in away from the barrel, it's abdominal. And then they lift their legs up against that, then it's glute and abdominal.
Right.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is one of those few exercises in fitness where you can work your butt and it doesn't go into your back. Isn't that wonderful? So usually people who do want to work on their tush are restricted because it will go into their back.
Right.
That's usually the factor that makes them stop. Because the glutes are big muscles compared to the lower back. All right, so so would it be okay to go higher than what you did and lose your 12 o'clock, going up into a neutral? Higher into a neutral. There you go, and down. And make sure it's equal because you're pulling more on your left side than your right. Okay, and down. Now, is that okay to do? Would that be terrible to do, or what's going on there? Are you going to tell me that nobody should ever do that?
I find discomfort on my stomach because when you go
puts
up,
a lot of pressure.
it puts pressure on your stomach and also your lower back.
Lower back pressure.
So I don't see how it could be good to do it that way. It hurt me doing it.
Yeah.
So I guess I might have a weaker lower back, but
So let's cover that for a moment. If you have a weak back but it's not injured, should you be doing any back exercises?
yes,
Yes.
to strengthen it.
You need to start building some strength in it. So a lot of times our clients are very leery of feeling anything in their back, any sort of tension whatsoever. So it's a matter of a decision someone has to make, whether is it an injury or is it just a weak back, and then how far to go. So it's really about communicating with your client all the time and working within their comfort zone, finding out what pain level, 1 to 10 being the worst, 1 being nothing, and kind of find a way to work and build the strength but not strain their back. And then obviously the next time you work with them, you can check in with them to see how long, if they had any pain, residue pain for a day or two after that. And so a little discomfort or feeling of the back the next day would be probably okay if it's, just a tight feeling. But if the pain or tightness continued for 3 days, it was way, way too much.
Okay.
Okay, so you see, you can start adjusting your own workout with them.
Okay.
Okay, so really Pilates is all about educating the client rather than making them do something. We are not trainers, we're instructors. We educate them on how to do it. We ask them to honor themselves, their body, their pain threshold, their comfort zone. And it's not about you telling them, oh, you should do this, right? It's like, well, try this, now try that. And it's really about working with the client because it is their body. You have no right telling them what to do, right?
Right.
Okay, and trying to push them into something past their comfort zone. That's not a good idea, right? And most girls won't, but guys will. Guys will hurt themselves to get to a certain number of repetitions. Right. So you have to usually kind of really watch the guys. The girls, they know when to, for some reason, they have instinct about stopping when it gets uncomfortable or not going out of bad form. But a guy will go out of bad form, hurt himself just to get to number 10.
Right.
So you kind of have to watch the guys a lot, okay?
Okay.
All right, so when you're on there and you're, the question I think I really want to get to is it okay to work up to a neutral? Past neutral, no, okay, but up to a neutral. Well, if you're working your glutes, if someone wants to work their glute and build some strength in their back, it is okay to go to neutral, okay? Again, up to their feelings and everything. But if you start paying attention to the origin of the muscle in the glute and the insertion of the muscle, insertion being on the thigh, origin being in the upper pelvis, lower back area, to get the full glute workout, it would be advantageous to go to a neutral. Okay?
Right.
Because if you're holding a 12 and working, you're pretty much working, isolating the tension in the lower part of the glute at the insertion near the thigh. Okay?
But you don't want to go into an anterior tilt, right?
Never.
Okay.
Right.
Because that
But
can
to neutral
hyper-
would be fine.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So how about the side leg lifts? Show me that.
The side leg lifts.
Uh-huh. Face the camera so we have a face shot of you.
So the side leg lifts. Actually, this is just
Oh yeah,
This-
pull it all the
this-
way back.
this is one of my
Good.
favorites on the small barrel.
Pull it this way.
I mean on the mat. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. You like all those?
I do. All those glute workouts. Okay.
Okay, start again. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Go ahead. No, you feel the crunch on your right side as you went over? Go ahead and try it again. See how you're shortening in the right rib cage and in the obliques? Do you feel it? There you go. You got to stand away from the barrel. Why?
You want to stand away from the barrel because you want to use the barrel as support, and in order to do that, you want to reach up and over. And the way I was doing it, I was standing right next to it. There was really no support for me to.
And you were going down on
Diagonal is
and
going
causing
down.
compression on your right side.
Right.
Did you feel it?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Good. So from here, if you stand away from the barrel, stand up. Away from the barrel. Now lean into the barrel with your hip. Immediately, that action just opened up this whole right side.
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep lifting up to go over the barrel, so you push down to lift up. And then you opened up your whole right side. And then when you get down there, your right side's not compressed anymore. Now your left side's stretching.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? So here, which hand goes where? Okay, now stand up for a second. Look at me. Would you have a client turn their palm out and bring their arm up this way? You see what it does to the shoulder? And then the other hand here?
It should have been under.
Under, yeah. You see that? Because then the shoulder can drop.
Right.
If the arm's turned over, then the shoulder goes up. Get that? So the bottom arm should be facing palm up and the top face down. Okay? Good. Stretch this up and over the barrel. Great. Got good traction there. Underhand grip. You can hold that. And then overhand grip. Now, again, stand up. If I have one hand here and one hand here, and I'm on my side, can you see how that's going to make me wobble forward and back
Yes, I should have the top one in front of me.
to help stabilize you, right? And that torques your torso forward a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is preferred than if your torso was back, then a lot of tension would go into your back.
Right.
Okay? So that's why this handle is here. So you can get a wider hand grip. And it also, just like when you're doing your lunge on the small barrel, if your feet are lined up on the same line, it's harder to balance, right?
Mhm.
So you want a broader base for balance.
Okay.
Very good. Now that's a big stretch. And notice your left leg doesn't go all the way down.
Right.
Right. So if you just release there, that's a nice stretch release right there in that hip.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now what do we do?
You can either just do this
Yeah.
or
And,
bring both of them up.
okay, so there's a lot of variations. Just do that one first. Okay. When you do this one, how are you cueing the client? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for length in the leg. I want to create opposition. I'm making sure I get more of a stretch when I'm in a plantar flexion. And I want them to be, when I reach as far as I can with my toes to that wall, I feel a big, big stretch on my serratus.
Yeah. So again, it's not about up, it's about out. So you're really trying to get them to put some space in that hip joint,
Right.
as if someone's pulling their leg out of the hip joint and then down. So when you go down, you could just release, but also you could use your adductors to try to pull the leg further down to do reciprocal innervation, stretching this muscle, activating that one, right?
Correct.
So, and again, reaching out to go up. And that's the cue I often use. I say, reach out to lift, focus on the out, not so much the up. Right? Good. And then you stabilize that leg up, and then what could you do up here?
I can bring the bottom one.
Well, before you do that, what else could you do with the top leg high?
I can do circles.
Yes. And again, instead of saying circle, tell them it's more like a corkscrew going further away as they rotate in the hip joint. So they're really focusing again of articular traction. Yeah?
Correct.
So obviously the reverse would be there too. And what else can we do there with the single top leg?
You can just do small pulses.
Yeah, small pulses, I like that. And
You can do
forward, back. Very good. Now, keeping the leg table level, hardly anyone ever is able to do that. Because at that point, keeping the level, this at one level all the way forward and back, most people will drop it when they go back or to the front, you see?
Mhm.
But keeping it at one level all the time is very difficult. So again, it's really about their awareness.
So could you do like circles?
Big circles,
Big
yes.
circles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything else?
You can do
Bend straighten, yeah? So you could, yes, stabilize the knee and pull the foot back. You could also bring the knee toward your chest and pull the foot up toward your sitz bone and then do a leg press out, right? This is all working extensors plus hip, right? How about turn out, in? Keep the foot in one place and turn up to the ceiling and then down, all the way down, and then all the way up. So if we did this on the mat work, we'd call them clams, right? Open, close, rotating from the hip joint, the rotators in the glute. Very good. How about if you turn out toward the ceiling and now stabilize the knee and then develop pay from there, reaching up and out. Right, and then straight leg down to stretch all of them, bend the knee, draw it up and stretch it out, and then down again. Yes?
yes.
So turn it out. Keep the knees facing the ceiling when you do that. Nice. Okay, here's one you can do with an assist from the trainer. I could put your foot up on my shoulder, and then it could have you push down on my shoulder with your foot. That's activating your adductors, your gracilis, all those inner thigh muscles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you're reciprocally releasing. Now, let it go and release. And each time they do that, they're going to alternate pushing down, activating the muscles, and then letting them go. And that's going to increase their stretch, their range of motion. And you'll find you'll be able to lift this a little bit higher each time they let go. And tighten, push down my hand, and then let go. And that's a traditional PNF stretch. Push down on my hand, let go. Push down on my hand, let go. And you notice I'm pulling your hip down so you don't hike it up. I'm directing it down. I'm not really doing anything. So I'm just stabilizing your leg, and then when you release, I find the end pull again to where you can let go. And then I stabilize it there, and you push down on my hand, and then you release. You see how that increases that? Good.
That's a good stretch.
All right. So there's a traditional PNF stretch.
What's PNF mean?
What?
PNF is on the spot. Proprietal, proprioceptor, neuro facilitation. Neuromuscular facilitation.
Excellent. So PNF, everyone just knows what PNF is. It's okay, PNF.
Okay.
Okay, so what else, when you're on your side, what else can you do? We kind of exhausted that top leg.
Yeah.
Now what are we going to do?
You can work the bottom leg now.
Aha. So you can stabilize the top leg up.
You can stabilize the top leg up and bring the bottom leg to meet it.
Correct. So now you're using adductors and the stabilizer of the top leg, of the abductor, and then the bottom leg abductor. Excellent. How about, what else? What else can you do up there?
You can do both.
Both. What's the primary mover when you do both?
The primary mover when you do both is your hips. your pelvis. I mean, you're working from your,
That was the primary mover when you lift the top leg. What was the primary mover when you lift the bottom leg?
my abductor.
Adductor. What's the primary mover when you connect both ankles, keep them together, and now move up and down? You're moving from where?
My oblique.
That's right, your obliques. Very good. So now all of a sudden it becomes an oblique exercise. Your legs are still secondary movers, but your primary mover is now your oblique.
Right.
Right. Now what do you have to watch for when a client is doing any one of those three variations? Single leg, top leg, bottom leg, both leg. What do you have to watch for? How are they going to cheat?
They're going to be you want to make sure their legs aren't bent.
Okay.
And whenever the purpose, like I always tell one of the girls that I see, is she wants to lift it really high.
Yeah.
And it's not about the height. So I tell her to kind of just do it here, because when her bottom leg is going to meet your top leg, it's going to be harder to get higher up.
Well, that's true. Very few people, if this is high, they can't get the bottom leg all the way
Right.
up. So I make them touch each time. And likewise, when you bring this one down, it's hard to get this one all the way down, unless they totally roll in, and then they can. Right?
Right.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get you to tell me is what they will do is they will use their arms to pull their head toward the ladder. And go ahead and do that. Use your arms. And by doing that, you're pulling your center this way up over the barrel so it becomes easier to lift the leg. You see that?
Mm-hmm. And you're using
Their
this right here.
lats. Yeah. So even if they don't bend the elbows, a lot of them will use their lats. Go ahead and do their lats and lift both legs. Yeah. You see, what they're doing is they're pulling their torso up over the barrel, and that shortens the moment arm, so that it becomes a lot easier. Your
Right.
center is more this way now. You get that?
Uh-huh.
So don't let them pull on this thing with their lats or bending their elbows, because number one, it's going to cheat them from the exercise. Number two, it's going to break the ladder.
Right.
Okay? Good. Anything else?
What did we have?
Well, we're not going to do a walkover. Are we going to do walkover?
Mm.
No.
How about handstand?
No.
No? Okay. So,
What was one of the ones that you and I used to do quite a bit? That it was probably much the opposite of the one you just got out of, which is very
swan.
Ooh, yeah, the swan we can do.
good. Thank you. I'll look at that.
Probably not recording.
No, it's recording. It's indicating.
Okay, so number one, you have to move that barrel a lot further out for you.
Because I'm okay.
Yeah? You know, for you, put your heels on it rather than your toes. Yeah. Open your knees bigger. There you go. Here we go. Now do it. So you slide out, you lift up, and then down. Right. Slide out, lift up. Now at the top, go a little higher. Open the chest. More. There. Now before you go over, bend the knees and slide down the barrel. Slide down. Hold yourself up and slide down. There you go. Now go over. Now, why would I have you do that instead of let's do it really badly. Go slide out first. Straighten the knees all the way. Straighten the knees. Good. Come all the way up with straight knees. Straight knees. All the way up. Good. From here, you see if you straight knees, that pushes you over further, doesn't it?
Mhm.
And now you go over. That puts a big strain on your back to go control that down, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, so with straight legs, you go up. And then you bend the knees and you'll change your center of gravity closer toward the barrel, and then you can go over. Yes?
Mhm.
Is that more comfortable?
It is.
Okay, this time we're going to add a stomach massage to it. You're going to go out, up, open the chest. From here, you're going to bend the knees, sliding down the barrel. From here, you're going to pull your belly in away from my finger. Don't touch me, and see how far over you can go without touching the barrel. So you really deep stomach massage, and then you relax onto it. So you're working the stomach, and when you're going down, you're reciprocally releasing your back, because you're working your back going up. So it's really good not to wait until you get to the bottom to release your back, but to use reciprocal innovation and use your tummy to support you as you go over.
Okay.
Yeah? And it gives them a double stretch in their back then, and a release in their back,
Right.
because their back is working all the time going up.
Okay.
What else a variation on that one could you do? We call that swan with the stomach massage.
We can do another variation of this. Well, this is kind of when I come up. This is kind of like flat back, just the opposite side. But you want me to stay on my stomach and show another variation of?
Oh yeah. The sitting series, we should probably do that next. But yeah, show me another variation of swan.
Let's see.
But you understand swan is not a back bend, right?
Yes.
Swan is the same as we did in Climb the Tree over here. It's a chest expansion.
Right.
It's not a back bend. Good. Okay.
So couldn't we just pull ourselves this way?
Yeah, straight. You know what? For you, you're very tall. Put your feet on the bottom, on the back, right there. There. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now do your swan up. And open the arms. And now, from this position, breathe. Pull your shoulders down and back. And open this up here. That's really the exercise. From here, you could turn, keeping your hips squared on the barrel, turn up and over, so it's increasing the flexion, the extension in your upper back on one side. Come back to center. Good. And now turn from this side, lifting up and over this way. So it's increasing the back bend on that side. But don't bring this one forward. No, there. Okay? And come back to center. And so those are twisted swans.
This is kind of like lateral saw.
Lateral
The same.
saw. So it's up and over, like a big back. That's better there. Okay?
So it's
Right. It's up and over back. Right. It's not just a rotation. It's like there you go, up and back. That's right. Okay. And then release, and then relax your back. So you don't want them staying up there doing that too long, right? You just do a release between each repetition.
okay.
Okay? All right. So show me the flat back and the abdominal series then. Hook your toes.